right, and welcome everyone to Session 7 of Star Trek Valhalla. I just want to first and foremost take a moment to say good job, everybody. We made it this far. You haven't quit me yet. Don't. I wish I could quit you, but no, I don't want to quit you. I want to keep playing with you cool people, because this fine group here has reinvigorated my love of a setting I thought I was done with for a long time. And they have reinvigorated that love and passion of the Star Trek universe. In fact, small little plug, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I will be launching a brand new Star Trek Adventurers actual play called Star Trek Magmel. And there's some amazing group. It will be happening canonically, I think is the term. Is that the right term, Mimi? Canonically with Valhalla. And I hope there might be even some crossover at some point between some of the players. And we're gonna build our own little Star Trek lore, our own little Star Trek IP, intellectual property, as it were. You know, everything's to CBS or whatever it is. I don't know. It's fine. Hashtag disclaimer. But with that being said, enough out of me. We are going to go around the group. We're going to introduce the players, tell us who they're playing, and then we're going to have a cool opening log from none other than Lieutenant Commander Krev. So, Captain, take it away.
Hello, I am Brian, also known as Mind Over Brian on both Twitter and on Twitch, although on Twitch I spell it with a zero. And I am playing Captain Asba Traso, the Betazoid captain who has forsworn his telepathic abilities in favor of a Starfleet career.
Hello, I'm Sidereal Day, and I am Commander Ajay Shahira, the Bajoran Chief Medical Officer and First Officer.
Hello, I'm Symbol24. I am Lieutenant Alden Harris, Human Science Officer.
Hello, I'm Charles. I'm playing Ensign Zed, the Ferengi Chief of Operations and Chief of Security, straight out of the Academy.
Hi, I'm Drew. I'm playing Lieutenant Commander Krev, the Tellarite Chief Engineer.
And of course, I am Der Wolf, the Game Master, the guy who is, I guess, running this whole show. Well, not really running it. That sounds wrong. That's the wrong term. I'm the guy that's presenting them with problems, and this fine crew is telling a story, and I just sit back and let it happen. So there you go. That's where we're at. But enough out of me. Lieutenant Commander Krev, you have tonight's opening log for Episode 7, Ode to Einen Verlorenen Bruder.
So, Chief Engineer's log, stardate 581655.3. Engineering team awesome. God, I never should have let them pick their own names. Have completed recalibration of the asymmetrical resonance manifold in holodeck 1. This completes the over 700 crew hours of repair time my teams have had to perform since the Nachtiga storm 3 weeks ago. This is despite help from young Petty Officer Locke. I swear that boy has 4 left hooves and 3 of them are broken. I had to set Bronson to watch him. That probably set us back 3 days. Like, really does have a good head on her shoulders. Anyways, that storm was a wild ride. I don't know when I'll feel safe back in my garage simulation. Maybe I'll send Ensign Ted in to test it. I'll call it some sort of exercise to get him more familiar with the captain. Yeah. I'm hoping we can avoid any more strange human mythological analogies in the future. Those birds were creepy. Ugh. Speaking of the captain, it really seems like the incident on the holodeck got to him, both mentally and physically. He seems a little more withdrawn and keeps rubbing his hand as if it still pains him. I should probably mention that to the doc next time I see her. On a more interesting note, Ragnar's sensors have detected some sort of space station ahead on our course. Not a known design. Wonder if her engineer would let me take anything apart. End log.
Fantastic. You may have a momentum for that delightful opening log, and I'm very excited to eventually meet Team Awesome, I believe was the phrase that I heard. Team Awesome. That's a great engineering. I mean, they do awesome things. But we're actually going to open our log in main engineering, or open our first scene in main engineering, where Lieutenant Commander Krev, you are working by the warp core. There's been a slight variance in the in the warp core, it's about 2% off of normal nominal output. And Bronson is over kind of behind you, along with Petty Officer Locke, who has been shadowing in some ways, just kind of shadowing to see. Thank you very much for the subscription. I appreciate that, Drew. But he's been shadowing Bronson in an attempt to broaden his understanding. Now, he doesn't have any access. He's not really allowed to touch anything, but he is there with her. And from over your shoulder, you can just barely make out Bronson explaining to the young petty officer. So this right here, that actually controls the inflow and outflow of the warp coolant. And if you look right there, you can see how, see, that's the intake, and then that's the outtake, and then it cycles through the system. And young petty officer Locke is nodding his head. He has a little data pad. He's absorbing all of this information. And as all of this is going on, you're watching, Lieutenant Commander Krev, you're watching the warp engine, and you watch it go from 98% efficiency, 97, 96, 95, 94, and then it kind of plateaus, and then it goes 93. And that soft, kind of bluish swirling glow, that hum of the engineering, of main engineering, it starts to almost change tonality. So it's just that it gets a little bit deeper, a little bit darker, like a almost like a car engine, similar to the old Edsel that you were working on with the captain last episode, like a kind of almost like the engine is having issues. And I'd like to know what you'd like to do about that.
I'm going to call up the like an engineering status report, like a status report of all the engine systems.
I'd like you to go ahead and roll a insight engineering, difficulty of 2 on this one for us, Lieutenant Commander Krev.
Insight engineering. I have a focus of warp drive.
Absolutely, it'll work. Yes.
And could I use I know my ship, which gives me a bonus D20?
Absolutely, 100%. That's perfect.
And then, am I being assisted by the ship's computers or sensors?
No, not in this moment.
All right. So that was insight. No, cancel. Insight, engineering, submit. 3D20. Submit. Yes. Submit.
Beautiful. That is enough. So I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that you've identified that there is a coolant leak somewhere along the line that is affecting the engine's ability. It's starting to overheat a little bit, hence the slightly deeper tone to the engine, the warp core's hum that you're hearing. The bad news is you're not exactly sure where it is, where it's located, or what would have caused this. But as you're analyzing the data before you, Lieutenant Commander Krev, you hear a couple of footsteps from behind you. There's that platform, a stairwell that kind of leads up. You hear a tick, 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 tick. And then you hear the young petty officer from behind you. And he says, have you considered, Lieutenant Commander Krev, potentially rerouting the balance asymmetric distortion relay? That could maybe improve the variance?
Krev is looking at his readouts and he goes, no, the asymmetric distortion relay needs to be asymmetrically routed. Wait a second. And he slows down, taps another few buttons. You're right. If I balanced it, then the coolant leak would bypass the secondary phase inducer and would even out. And he starts tapping buttons and
then it would be safe to go and investigate where the leak is, and then it wouldn't be danger. I'm just trying to help.
Krev looks at him, looks back at his systems, implements the suggestion, and waits to see what happens before he says anything.
Control engineering, difficulty of 0.
You just want threat.
No, I want you guys to get some momentum. I already have a threat. Don't worry, Elrath. I saw that threat spend earlier. I'm pocketing it for later. So that gains you guys 3 momentum, which is fantastic. And the good news is, Lieutenant Commander Krev, is that the power, the warp core, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 99.5, and then it hits up to 100. 100% maximum output from the warp core. And the petty officer looks a little proud of himself. From down below, though, in that lower engineering area, you hear Bronson. You hear Bronson say, "Petty officer, what are you doing up there? You're not supposed to be up near the warp core. Get down here this instant." Petty officer, looking nervous, tenses up a little bit, says, "Sorry, sir. Duty calls." And then he quickly climbs down the ladder and returns to Bronson. You hear him saying, "Sorry, ma'am, I thought I could help." And she's, "You're not supposed to be up there. What are you doing? Don't bother him. He gets angry." And then they have this little back and forth moment right there. Now, here's where that threat from chat is going to come in. Here's where that threat from chat's going to come in. Lieutenant Commander Krev, you watch as the output from the engine, you know, it's at 100, goes to 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, and it starts exponentially increasing. And that glow, which was getting deeper, starts to get higher, like a deeper tone, starts to get higher pitched, higher pitched, higher pitched, higher pitched. And that, my friends, is we're going to pivot over to the bridge, where who would be on the bridge this would be an early morning. I'm assuming probably Captain, and I'm guessing who else? Who else would be there?
I would be.
You'd be there?
If
All
it's
right.
early morning.
I love it. Early morning. Very good.
I'd say Zed would probably be there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
First, this is Alpha Shift. Alpha Shift, as it were. So, we cut to a scene where we see pretty much the main command crew. We've got Ensign Zed, we've got the captain, we've got the first officer, we have Lieutenant Paris. Now, Lieutenant Paris, you've been picking up this strange intermittent signal. When I say strange, there are 2 signals. One seems to be piggybacking the other. The primary signal, this primary I guess think of it as an SOS, is more of a warning rather than an SOS. And just like our starting intro had mentioned, there is a warning. There is a warning in there, and it simply states, "Quarantined by order of the Numphel Legion." Quarantined by the order of the Numphel Legion. And there is this almost tonal, like, buzzing sound that ends the message. So, "Quarantined by order of the Numphel Legion," and then there's this, like, noise, and it's very grating to hear. And you're having trouble. You think there might be an additional message that's been piggybacked on this warning, on this quarantine warning, but you've been having trouble decoding it. And I'd like to know, what would you like to do to try and decode that?
First thing I'd announce, Captain, we're receiving a signal. Seems to be a warning of from unknown location, but that
From the space station. That was
from the space
aforementioned.
station.
Yep. Mhm.
Sorry.
No. you're
That-
good.
That the area is under quarantine by the. Do that again, sorry.
The Numphel Legion. And what I'll
Numphel
actually do,
Legion.
yep. What I'll do is, if you go over, I'm going to actually
There's
show
a
this.
second part.
There's
to
a
the-
handout.
that I'm trying to analyze.
Numphel Legion.
Very
Oh.
cool.
So I'll try to invert the signal and pass it through our linguistics.
Perfect.
systems.
Anybody would like to help?
No.
Captain's like, "Carry on."
Let me know when you know what it says.
That's brilliant. I love it. I love it.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
So I'm gonna guess control science.
Absolutely. So actually, no, not control science. This is going to be reason science. You're trying to understand and reason your way through this situation to understand what this piggyback signal may be.
All
Can the
right,
ship help with the computer science?
Absolutely, I would say yeah, especially since he's running it through the translator. 100%.
I don't have any focuses that can apply.
Ragnar
But
does
I
not
do
help.
have technical expertise to reroll.
It's gonna be a difficulty of 2 on this one. You do have 5 momentum, just as a strong suggestion, as it were. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll use the extra momentum to get 2 rolls. 2 more dice. That's 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Oh! Oh!
I do have at least 1 reroll.
Oh! 2 20s. Yikes. Yikes. Okay.
That is 2 20s,
Okay.
but yeah, I'll reroll these.
Reroll the 1. Reroll the 1. All right. All right. All right. You are succeeding, though, which is good. You are succeeding. Oh,
we
that's
go.
nice. You gain 2 momentum back as well, which is fantastic. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pocket that as threat for myself for the future. I'm going to take that other 20. I'm going to pocket that because I'm going to need that later for reasons. Don't worry about it. It's probably nothing. Now, as this happens, that noise that you were hearing, you actually start to hear what sounds like a voice. Now, at first, you still hearing that kind of buzzing, high-pitched, almost insectoid style, like that kind of sound that you're hearing. But as you start to run it through the translator once and twice, you start to hear a voice, and it sounds like, well, it sounds like if a bug was able to talk, kind of this like almost like a buzzing. It sounds like more like buzzing than actual words is what you're hearing. But as the universal translator works through it and actually begins to spit out something you can understand, you hear this voice, and the voice sounds incredibly desperate, and they are pleading for help. To any ships that are hearing this, please, we need help. Please, the station is failing. Power systems are failing. Life support is failing. We need assistance. Please, we are not sick. Please, we need your help. This is Abuna Riala. Please, calling from the station. Calling from Station Stardown. Please, we need your help. Please. And then it just repeats again and again.
Abula what?
Say again?
Oh,
The
it
name
was-
of the person?
Mhm.
The name of the person I will actually post to you here. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, because it is actually it's a video that you see. And the person that you see is this character right there. Mm-hmm. And what would you like to do with that information, my good man?
Captain, the second message seems to be a call for help, and I run the actual message so that everyone can hear.
Well, Commander Ashi, what do you think?
Well, if they're claiming that it's not actually a plague, even if it is one, it's possible we can help them.
I concur. Helm, set course, and increase speed to warp factor 6.
At the mention of increased speed to warp factor 6, here's where that additional complication down in engineering is going to come into play. Hard yikes. It goes from 6 to 7 to 9.9, and you're getting there real fast. And the good helm officer over yonder, he says, sir, we're accelerating, and I can't, sir, I can't, oh boy, I can't slow it down. Sir, 9.9, 9.95, and the whole ship begins to shake and jostle. The inertial dampeners are having trouble keeping
Bridge
up
to
with
engineering?
the momentum. Lieutenant Commander Graf.
Trev here. I'm busy, Captain. What do you need?
The ship to slow down.
Yeah, I said I'm busy.
Bridge to Bronson.
This is Bronson, sir.
Status report. Craft seems to be busy.
We seem to be having a power spike. we're trying to isolate the reason here right now, sir. And Lieutenant Commander Krev, watch out that console! And you hear an explosion from somewhere in engineering, and the comm cuts out. Pivoting back down to engineering, because I think that's funny. Lieutenant Commander Krev, the console that you were just working at, you saw it start to kind of heat up behind, like there was this like glowing flash, but that console you were working at just rocksfalled and exploded in your face, and there was a little bit of a shattering and a little bit of an explosion there. And in fact, I think I have a... There you go. Got a nice little console explosion there for you, right? Oh, it did it again. Oh, another one just went. Wow, that's 2 of them. There's too much power running through all these systems. What would you like to do about that?
I can't see those. Exploded consoles. I will, I guess, find another console that hasn't exploded and attempt to find out again what is causing this very disturbing and very aggravating incident.
We're gonna have you roll an insight engineering difficulty of a 2.
Insight engineering difficulty 2.
And rushing up to assist, Bronson is actually going to assist you.
Okay. I am going to insight engineering. Let's see. I've got my
Bronson. Come on, Bronson. The whole ship
I know
is
my
starting
ship.
to shake. Everything's getting a little crazy. Up on the bridge, you guys are holding on. Like, imagine like your cheeks are like it's getting wild. It's getting wild up there right now.
All right, so I'm going to use my I know my ship talent, right? Yeah. Which gives me a bonus D20. I've got a warp drive and warp drive focus, and I'm going to use a momentum to get another bonus.
Bronson shouts. The whole engineering, the warp core is literally a buzz. It is this high pitch, just. The whole ship is shaking. Everything's getting crazy. Bronson's screaming at you, Lieutenant Commander Kraft. Sir, I can't isolate what's causing the warp core. It's at 165% capacity, sir. Sir, if we don't stop this, it's gonna blow. Everyone's freaking out. The whole engineering running around like a bunch of little busy beavers, little ants just scurrying around, hands in the air. It's absolute pandemonium.
Okay.
That is 4 successes.
I used a momentum, Brian.
Something.
If you bought a 4th dice, you used 2.
Something inside engineering
No worries.
is like pumping power into, and with that 4 successes, it seems to be coming from down near the console that controls the heating and cooling of the Ragnar. And down there you see, when you look down at that console, you see standing there looking very nervous and very confused, you see none other than Joffrey Locke.
Yeah, that was difficulty 2. I run down there, and I'm going to bump him out of the way.
You bump him out of the way as he slides back a good 3 feet. Like you all but barrel through him. He gets closer to the door. As he slides back about 3 feet, you notice that the ship's power, the warp core at 165, ticks down to about 157.
Get back over here. What were you doing? Show me.
Nothing, sir. I wasn't touching anything.
Show me.
I didn't touch anything, sir. I was just standing here. As he steps back towards the console, from up on the platform, Bronson shouts, "Sir, it decreased! Sir, it's increasing again!"
Locke, step back, now.
Locke steps back again, closer to the doors of engineering. Sir, it went down again!
Get out of my engine room.
But
Go to
you said I
go
could
to sick bay. Go to sick bay
Okay.
now.
He exits out through the doors looking just sad, just like a sad child. And as he exits, you watch as the power output of the warp core goes from 157, 155, 153, 130, and it exponentially drops down. Up on the bridge, the shaking, the jostling of the Ragnar settles down. You drop back down to warp 6, and you're only about an hour away from the space station, which is probably good.
As Krev is, working on whatever kind of damages he now has in his engine room, he's going to contact Krev to bridge.
Asba.
I think I got it. It's a weird one, Cap.
I expect I'll read about it in your report.
Well, I'll tell you right now. Petty Officer Locke was standing by the engineering console in charge of the cooling systems, and the output of the cooling systems started increasing, and that's what caused the power dip and then the power spike. His proximity to the systems seemed to boost our power.
I thought we had agreed to keep young Petty Officer Locke away from any important systems until we knew more about him.
Petty Officer Locke was under careful scrutiny. It was not him, it was his presence. I sent him to sickbay. If we could get Doc down there to take a look at him, see if he's emanating any kind of, I don't know, voodoo.
Yes,
I'll
I'm
take-
on my way to check for voodoo, Lieutenant Commander.
Check for
Thanks, Doc.
voodoo. Check for voodoo. I can't argue with that. That is so good. That is so good. And as we pivot down, we are actually going to pick up down in the medical bay, where as you walk in, standing in medical, is the good Locke, Nurse Hagen, and he is sitting on that kind of main medical bed as you walk into the top medical bay. And Commander Ajay, you walk in, Locke is sitting there looking just very disappointed and very, sad about his lot in life.
Petty Officer, welcome back.
Hello, Commander. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do anything. I was just standing there, and then everything started to get weird and crazy, and then Lieutenant Commander Krev yelled at me, and I just wanted to help, and I'm sorry I'm such a burden.
Not a burden, just a mystery. Now, let's see if we can't figure out exactly why you seem to be affecting our ship systems. That way, you can go back to, I believe you've been assisting, Miss Bronson?
Yeah, she's really cool. She's been showing me the ropes in engineering. I mostly was at the con. I'm a pretty good pilot. The captain says I can't pilot anything right now. I'd love to pilot a ship like this. This thing's awesome.
Yes, I think we're all rather fond of her. All right, let's see what we've got going on here. The sooner we can clear you, I think the happier all of us will be.
Commander, has my father asked about me?
I'm afraid I haven't had any contact with Admiral Locke.
Okay. And then he just sits there and allows you to examine him as you see fit.
Yeah. Okay, well, I assume this is gonna be, what, a control medicine check?
Insight medicine.
Insight. Okay. I don't think would you permit me to use genetics as an applicable focus, since it's possible that's what's been affected?
You know what? Sure. It's a stretch, but we'll allow it. As most foci are. They're like, can I use this for this other thing? I'm like, I mean, I guess that's fine. I'm not here to argue with you.
All right.
All right, difficulty on this was indeed a 3, so you hit it right
Okay.
on the money. I sometimes forget to say the difficulty, and that's on me. As you begin to
I
analyze,
forgot to ask you to clarify.
No, that's all good. As you begin to analyze the young Joffrey Locke, your medical tricorder starts to pick up some unusual readings. It appears that Locke is giving off energy. And when I say giving off energy, it is as though he is it's as though he's like a little warp core himself, which is a bit strange to your readings. You know, it shouldn't be possible, but he is giving off energy, and you're picking up a number of, well, temporal disturbances as well. That energy output. Now, if you recall, there was this device of some kind that you found that was in his head. Do you recall that? Okay. That device seems to be malfunctioning. Is everything okay, Doctor? You look worried.
I just think I might have to call someone else down to give me a hand with this.
Is everything okay?
It should be fixable. I'll be right back.
Give me a presence in medicine, difficulty of 3.
Bedside manner check.
Locke seems unconvinced, and we'll deal with that later. He starts to rub his hands together very nervously in this moment. He's like very nervous, a little shaky right now. But with that,
Shocked.
who are you calling?
I'm gonna step out. Who did I talk to last time about that device? Was it okay, that's what I thought. So Jada Paris.
Paris here.
Lieutenant, when you have if you happen to have a moment, would you mind coming down to sick bay? That device that's in Petty Officer Locke seems to be malfunctioning.
Okay.
And that seems to be what's causing the issues that he had with affecting the ship.
Understood. On my way.
Thank you.
And as Lieutenant Paris leaves the bridge, we're actually going to pivot back over to the bridge. And you all are about 45 minutes away from this station. And you're starting to pick up. And we're actually going to go over to the security section where the good Ensign Zed is just, running probably some passive scans, I would say. And as
we're
running
approaching
some
this.
passive scans.
Yeah.
We're approaching this. You pick up what you think is a unidentified ship. Now again, you're in the dense cloud that is the Shackleton Expanse, but you think for a moment, you're watching the sensors in front of you, think you see a little ping. Boop, and it disappears. And then you think you see another little ping. Boop, and then it disappears. And then, for a split second, you see a boop, 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 like a swarm of unidentified ships, and then they all vanish again.
Captain, I'm detecting erratic signatures of possible alien vessels.
Is it another of the refractions from our original movement into the expanse?
I do not know at this time, but I'm transferring the data to your terminal. And Zed's going to try to, try to scan, get a lock on these, maybe clarify the scans.
What you're going to do
enhance
is
them or
you're going to roll a
something, or-
control security difficulty of normally a 2.
Mhm.
But because I have all this threat that y'all been giving me in Great Glorious, I'm going to go ahead and spend 3 of that and increase that to a difficulty of 4.
Difficulty of 4. Let's see.
Yeah, we're gonna. If you've ever seen a swarm of birds and they kind of like get
Mhm.
up and they go down, they're round, they're just like swarming around. That's what these apparent ships look like. And then just behind where these swarms are appearing, you're picking up this relatively large. So if you remember Starbase 123, that was a very big starbase. This is about double that in size. So it's massive. It could house half of the Federation's fleet. Could probably dock at a station of this size. It's very
Wow.
big. Yeah.
Wow. And how much momentum do we have? 2?
4.
4.
Oh, we have 4. So could I spend what
3 would give you an extra 2.
3? Can I do? Why don't I do that?
I love it.
Why don't you?
And that was security plus. I mean, I'm sorry. Was that control plus security?
You got it, my friend.
Is the ship
All
helping?
right.
The ship can help, yes.
Presumably sensor security?
The ship
Nope.
is having great trouble picking up and locking onto any of these. Every time it goes to lock on, it disappears, reappears somewhere else. It's as though they're like blipping through space. That is 3 successes as of right now, so you are currently failing. Do you have any ability to re-roll anything?
What about does the captain have like an advisor
I do.
ability? Would that
You
would
could
that
try to assist.
Have you and instead have you tried narrowing the scan range to try and lock on so that you don't have to scan as wide a berth?
Oh,
Don't
excellent
scan
idea,
where they
Captain.
are, scan where they're going to be.
What do you so I'll use command, but what do you want as my attribute to
So
assist?
we'll have you roll presence command.
And infiltration as a
Nah.
what about team dynamics since
love
I'm
it.
offering him advice?
Sure, why not? One of these generic values will work.
Hey!
There it is. Okay, so you actually managed to lock on to one of them. And what's interesting is you lock onto it, and you watch as this tiny ship, it's big enough maybe for 1-2 people to be in it. They look like almost fighter craft. They appear to be jumping in and out of subspace. So they'll jump into subspace, and then jump back out and reappear in normal space. And then they'll jump back in and jump back out, as though they are blipping in and out. And they are swarming around this space station in these kind of, they seem erratic, but as you pick up one, you start to pick up another and another and another. And you're picking up a swarm of these ships in the magnitude of roughly 1,000, as far as you can tell. Now, they are again swarming as though they are a flock of birds. But as you analyze this data, I'm going to have you roll us a reason and security. Difficulty of only 2 on this one.
All right. Let's see.
Can the ship assist with the computer security?
Absolutely. And to give you an idea of what these look like, this is what the ships look like.
Oh, nice.
Yellow
There's
alert,
3
shields up.
different variants that you're picking up. That's 1 success. You only need 1 more. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, nice.
So here's the good news. Yes, there's 1,000 of these ships. They're blipping in and out. But as you watch them, so imagine there is this globe that encompasses this space station, this massive space station. It is large enough to where as you watch these ships that are moving really in a kind of disorganized but organized pattern, you start to map. And within about 3 to 4 minutes, you start to be able to accurately predict where they will appear as they jump around. So you have kind of a map of where this group of ships is jumping around in this globe-like pattern. So imagine there's a sphere around this station. You can predict where they'll be. Now, every time they jump, they seem to appear the same distance away from this space station, but on a different axis, a different point in that sphere around.
Does it appear they're creating a defense perimeter to
It
enforce the
appears
quarantine?
they are trying to jump, and it's like they're almost like in a scouting pattern is the best way you could describe it. Like if it was you, this is what you'd be doing, maybe a little less sporadically, but this is what you would be doing to watch as they, to watch a space station you're trying to defend, protect, or quarantine, as it were.
Do these small ships appear to be manned?
Yes.
Or
you are
unmanned?
picking up life signs.
Wow, so there's like 1,000 life signs.
Correct. Yes.
Mm.
Unknown life signs, as is tradition. So there you
Right.
go.
Yes. Zed will relay this to the captain.
Yellow alert. Shields up.
Aye,
Is Zed open a hailing
Captain.
frequency?
Hailing frequencies open, Captain.
This is Captain Treso of the USS Ragnar. We've received a distress call from this station. Notwithstanding the quarantine order, we are ready to render aid if necessary. Please respond.
The swarm of ships you're watching, Ensign Zed, as they're jumping. They then all disappear. They do not reappear out of subspace. You do not see them. A minute goes by. Another minute goes by.
All ships have disappeared into subspace, Captain.
And then a single ship appears about, let's say, 10 kilometers in front of the Ragnar. The pilot, the young pilot at the helm, stops the ship, because if he kept going, he was going to run right through it at warp. So boom, ship comes to a very aggressive stop. The inertial dampener is doing their best to keep up with it. And then a voice comes over. And it seems like a bit of a groggy voice, not tired, but a little bit gruff. This area is quarantined. Quarantined under order of the Numphel Legion. Turn back, unidentified vessel, or you will be fired upon.
How can we be unidentified? It just identified us.
While he's talking, Zed would like to use the sensors to evaluate the tactical threat this ship poses to the.
Absolutely. Give us a reason security, difficulty of 2.
And also what the threat would be if all 1,000 fired upon us at once.
Go for it.
Ensign Crusher, scan the station for life signs.
Ensign Crusher goes, absolutely, sir. Scanning. And let's have Ensign Zed make his check, and then we will roll for Ensign Crusher.
May I use shipboard tactical systems?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be perfect. Just going to roll a control and science. Difficulty. Nice, Mini. Let's go. Let's go, Mini Crusher. All right. Sir, I'm picking up roughly 100 life signs aboard the space station, sir.
Thank you.
And it looks like Zed got 1 success.
Ooh, not good enough. Not good enough. Not good enough. So here's how I'm going to describe this to you, Ensign Zed. As you go to scan this small attack vessel, as far as you can tell, it looks like a fighter. It's similar to when you first started scanning them. It appears to be present in normal space, but every so often, like every time you go to scan it, it seems to like just phase slightly, ever so slightly. You can see it out the main view screen. It's about 10 kilometers in front of you. It's tiny, it's small. It almost blends in to the orangeness of the Shackleton. But yeah, you're not picking up any known weapons or any known tactical capabilities on this vessel.
Unidentified small vessel. I repeat, this is the USS Ragnar, ready to render aid to those who have issued a distress call aboard the station.
No aid is necessary. Turn back or you will be destroyed.
Ensign Zed, credibility on that threat?
The ship seems to be phasing in and out of the grasp of our sensors, Captain. I cannot tell that I cannot assess the threat value as of yet. I'm continuing to try. And he's still pressing the buttons.
And as he continues to try, we're going to pivot back down to the sickbay, where walking into the sickbay is none other than a certain science officer who comes from a family that, well, there's certain, I guess, preconceived notions about how good they are at their job. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pass the scene over to the two of you as Lieutenant Paris walks in, meeting the good doctor in the hallway.
Hey, Doc, what you got for me?
Well, the device in his head seems to be malfunctioning, and my scanners indicate that he might as well be a warp reactor of his own at this point. So, if anything you can recall from your study of that device in his head that might explain this, that we can use to mitigate it.
The device, to my understanding, keeps him in temporal flux, meaning that he is both here and not here at the same time, which itself would require an insane amount of energy, which then comes from somewhere. Thus, he himself probably generates that energy to power that device, which then protects him from himself, us, and all that. So if the device is failing, then the energy is coming out, which is probably affecting the systems. Krev is not going to be happy.
Is he ever happy?
To say the least. Do you think that you or someone from engineering could fix it?
Yeah, I can jury something.
All right. Ajay will lead Paris into the room where Locke is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Locke. Lieutenant Paris and I are going to we're going to deal with what's been affecting you in the ship.
Okay. Am I going to be all right?
You're going to be just fine.
Okay.
That's the point of me being here, is to make sure that you're going to be just fine.
Very good.
All right. And Ajay's going to put him under.
And as
just
you
to make
go
this
to put him
easier.
under, I'm going to have you roll a control medicine, please.
Watch me get knocked unconscious again.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
I feel like that's what happened last time.
I hope not. So you successfully administer a dose. It's enough that should knock out. Well, it would be enough to knock out Lieutenant Commander Krev. The boy sits there, wide awake in front of you. Was that supposed to do something, Doctor?
It was, but given that your physiology seems to have changed.
Commander, you need to contact the captain right now. Commander, we're in grave danger. Commander, you need to tell the captain to activate the cloaking device right now. Commander, there's no time! And he starts panicking and freaking out and not getting violent, but he goes to get up off the table. Nurse Hagen steps forward. He's right there and he goes, Commander, you gotta contact the captain. We're in danger. We gotta do something right now. Right now. And you watch on your medical tricorder as that energy starts to get more and more intense, more and more intense, more and more intense.
Petty officer, calm down. I'll contact him, but you need to take a breath.
Captain, we're in grave danger. Captain, we have to activate the cloak device now. Captain. It's like cutting in and out as he keeps tapping it aggressively.
I try to restrain him.
Give me a fitness security difficulty of 2.
Nice.
Meanwhile, on the bridge, we're like, what is... Rich is sick, man? Are you all right? What's going on?
It's a 1.
He shoves you back. You hit the wall. It doesn't damage you. You don't take any damage, but it's a strong oof, and the wind gets knocked out of you. And he goes, "You don't understand. They're everywhere." And he starts freaking out. And simultaneously, as this is happening, we're gonna pivot back over to the bridge, where let's Ensign Zed. You remember all those ships that were blinking in and out of existence, and they were forming a circle around the space station? Can you guess who they're circling now?
I can.
All right. Well, you'd probably be right.
Yes.
It's the Ragnar. And there's about 1,000 of these fighters, and they're not blipping in and out of existence anymore. They're holding steady. And you can see each and every one of them is charging up weapons. And to describe these weapons to you, they're not really that powerful. But have you ever heard of death by 1,000 paper cuts? Yeah, that's what we're looking at here.
Right. Enemy vessels have materialized and are powering up weapons.
Ensign Moran, engage the cloak. Helm, take us to heading 142, mark 847. On my mark. Now.
Mark. And then you watch as the Ragnar, that black ship, that black metal, it starts to like fold back as though there are these plates, these mirrors being folded, and you watch as it vanishes before you. Lieutenant Commander Krev, down in engineering, you see this power draw from the cloaking device as it pulls energy. In the sick bay, you watch as the good luck passes out, as though that energy that was emanating out from him, that warp core energy, seems to be drawn to somewhere, and he collapses down on the table. Lieutenant Paris, you're able to get back to your feet, and as this happens, and you zip off quickly from the sensors, you pick up a swarm of pulse fire. Just like the entire area where you were is ignited in this tiny little, not even tiny, this large fiery explosion, as just 1,000 ships firing 1,000 lasers all in that direction. And it just ignites that part of space. And I'm going to have you roll here, Ensign Zed, a control security to analyze that gunfire, because this is going to be very interesting.
While he's analyzing that gunfire, the captain is going to use his little panel to vent Shuttle Bay 1. Shuttle Bay 3. So like a few shuttles around, watch out.
Yeah.
So that it looks like we have we've left some detritus that is from the explosion.
Mm-hmm. You lose 2 shuttles in that maneuver.
And we'll pick them up in a minute. Yeah.
Excellent. And that was
it's gonna be a difficulty of 1 on this one, and that is a control security on this
control
one.
security.
Yeah.
Would shipboard tactical systems
Absolutely.
still come into play?
100% it would. 100%. Beautiful. That is a success. So you know the you ever heard of the Omega particle?
Oh,
you know how that destroys subspace? Well, that area where your ship was, subspace no longer exists there. It's been destroyed. There is a black void where space should exist, but there is nothing there. And as you move off, you watch on your sensors as that swarm of ships swarms around, moves in a little closer, gets to the edge of that destroyed subspace area, and then they all move off, disappearing, and seem to scatter in every direction. And they disappear from sensors and do not reappear.
Zed will relay all that to the captain as normal. And once it seems like things have settled down for a moment, he's going to lean over, because he's kind of standing back behind the captain, say, Captain, might I have a word?
Go ahead, Mr. Zed.
It is about young Jeffrey Locke. As chief of security, I think it is my duty to point out that if Jeffrey Locke's presence is somehow causing strange phenomenon in the ship's systems causing massive issues and failures, that this presents a clear danger to the Ragnar.
Recommendations, Mr. Zed?
As as much as I sympathize for him, perhaps it would be wise for him to be placed into cold storage, like Commander DeBob. At least until we can determine what is the source of his interactions with the ship systems.
Well, I'm happy to consult with Dr. Ajay about the reasonability of that suggestion, but I'm hesitant to put someone who has committed no crime and who presents no purposeful danger in cold storage, making it more difficult to isolate whatever it is that's making him a danger in the first place.
I understand, Captain. However, what if he were to affect life support or the ship's inertial dampeners while we are at warp? It is just something to consider, Captain.
Indeed.
Thank you. And Zed will move back up to the security.
And
Council.
as Zed moves back up to the security, Ensign Crusher calls over to the captain. Captain, we're receiving a direct hail from the space station.
On screen?
And as the screen comes up, you see an alien, I suppose we could call it. We see an alien there. And it's the same alien that initially sent that distress signal. And I'm going to go ahead and just drag them over to the view screen here. And she says, or he says, they say, have you come to help us? Please, we're down to minimal life support systems. They refuse to help us. They said that we're sick, but we're not sick. We just don't wish to follow them anymore. Please, we need your help. Please.
This is Captain Traso of the USS Ragnar. We have received your distress call. I'm going to keep this broadcast short because we are currently under cloak and avoiding some of the quarantine measures. But we will send an engineering team over as soon as possible.
Please, as soon as you can. Most of the station is no longer habitable. We're in the center, near the main engines. Please, we need your help. Please. And then the signal cuts off as though they lost power and they can't transmit anymore. Sir, we've lost the signal.
It's all right. I was going to cut us off in a minute anyway. Bridge to engineering.
What do you got, Cap?
The station appears to be in dire straits. So I'm going to need you to put together a team. You're going to go over. We're going to try and give them some support, make some repairs. I recommend taking Commander Ajay if you can, but otherwise, your team's up to you.
Got it, Cap. Ooh, so you're actually going to let me play in the station?
It sounds like I don't have a choice. I recommend you keep the play to a minimum, though.
You know what I mean.
I do.
He laughs and then signs off.
Captain, in the event that there actually is some sort of medical emergency there, should we perhaps have the away team wear environmental suits?
Krev is smart enough to think of that by himself, but you're welcome to make that suggestion to him if you like.
Thank you, Captain. I will. And he'll shoot like a little message to Krev's console or someplace where he could pick up that suggestion.
Perfect. Excellent. And as that is going on, Krev, who are you going to bring with you?
I'm going over my engineering roster. Hold on. Did they say what exactly we're trying to fix?
They did not.
No.
Okay. So let's get to par. We're gonna take Bronson, Tapar, and Drake.
Perfect. Who would like to play? Who would like to play Bronson?
Let's look. What is her? Let's see. I created Drake, so
So you
maybe
should
I
play
should.
Drake. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually move you guys over.
Oh, and Commander Ajay, obviously.
I was gonna say I understand that I'm going, so I
Yeah,
will just
yeah.
play
You
myself.
are.
Thanks.
Well, that makes sense. All right, I'm gonna move you guys over to the space station, as it were, so you guys can see what this place looks like. It is massive, absolutely, absolutely massive. So let me go ahead and start dragging some folks over. So we got Ajay is coming. All right, excellent. We've got Petty Officer. I'll be happy to play Bronson since I have been. Do you want to bring some a security member as well, by chance?
Sure. Give me a second. Let me look at our security.
Might I suggest Velez, mainly because the captain created that character.
Yeah, we'll
That's
do
my
that.
support character.
Excellent. I don't have a token made for them, but that's okay. We can theater of the mind it.
They were
And
actually the one I was going
then-
to suggest.
That's excellent. And then you're also bringing, so you got Drake. You got Drake, excellent. And then who else were you wanting to bring?
Or which I guess will be me.
I love it. Tapar as well. Perfect. So you guys all huddle in to a Type 2 shuttle. And Commander Ajay, I didn't forget about you down in the medical. To give you an idea of what happens, the young Jeffrey Locke passes out. You're able to stabilize him, and all of his readings seem completely normal. That device in his head seems to be functioning normally again, which is, I guess, odd. Or
I don't trust it. I'll leave Lieutenant Paris to do what he wants to do with it,
love it.
and remind Nurse Hagen to make sure that our patient stays sedated until Lieutenant Paris is done.
Absolutely, absolutely love it. Perfect. So, as you guys head over, and again, to describe this space station, it looks both incredibly advanced, but incredibly basic at the same time. There are elements of some of the alloys that compose the station that you've never seen before. Malleable to like where they're like Play-Doh, but solid enough to where if you were to hit it with a photon torpedo or even a quantum torpedo, it wouldn't even dent the side of the station. It is a strange amalgamation of this advanced technology. But then you see that as you start to give your scans that the air scrubbers look like something out of a like 21st century space shuttle. They're good, but they ain't great. They're not life support systems like on the Ragnar. So it's a strange amalgamation. As you start to scan more and more, as you get closer and closer in your shuttle, you start to realize that this station appears to be a amalgamation of many different types of parts, many different, as though it was knitted together from scrap, is what you're finding, is what you think, is kind of this impression that it's giving you. But as you begin to approach, what would you like to do? Would you like to just go in? Would you like to do some more scans, get some more specific information? I'm going to leave that up to you, as I believe Lieutenant Commander Krev's in charge of this away mission, or is it Commander Ajay that's in charge of the away mission?
No, Lieutenant Commander Ajay will defer to Commander Krev, since this is primarily an engineering thing, unless that changes and we find out there is also a plague.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's do environmental readings. So I want to know what kind of atmosphere we're dealing with, gravity, and pathogens.
I love it.
Whatever we can determine from sensors before we land, and then as suggested by the good ensign, I want everyone in suits and or in environmental suits, and we're not going to take any chances in here.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we're gonna have a couple different roles here. we're going to start with a... So you're trying to scan to see what kind of atmosphere it is. So you're going to do a control engineering scan, and then it can be assisted by anyone that if they want to do sensors, if you want to do it. So any of the supporting characters here can assist, and just let me know who would like to help. This is going to be a difficulty of 3 on this, because the alloy, what makes up this space station, is kind of hard to scan through. It appears to be interfering with sensors.
I don't have any focuses that would be useful for this.
Valhalla will also not be helpful to you.
Yeah.
So at this point, are we scanning not for the pathogens? We're scanning for
What type of atmosphere exists on
oh,
this space
atmosphere.
station?
Mhm. Yeah, Drake doesn't have that anything either.
This isn't assisted by the ship's computers or sensors. I guess it would be assisted by the sensors, right?
That is true. It would be, yes.
You're not
then
on
I
the
will
Ragnar,
use-
Oh, you're
though.
not on the Ragnar. This would be a shuttle, which it can
That's
help,
right.
but probably having a supporting character help you would be
Yeah,
better. Their stats
using
would
my-
be significantly better.
I
than
wouldn't
a
be
Type
able to
2
use my
shuttle.
my
Yeah.
technical expertise.
Mhm.
Okay. And we're not doing extended tasks.
No.
So, okay. I'm going to use a momentum to get a 3rd die. No. Anyone else have a have anything that they can assist with?
I have advisor, but I don't know how that would help in this situation.
What's the
Well,
roll?
maybe if you advised him to reset the multivariate polaron conversion relay, you could use advisor and make a
What's
suggestion.
the roll?
So for everyone that's rolling, it's a control engineering is what you're rolling.
Oof. I mean, you know what? Valhalla is not bad, but he doesn't have a focus to help with. So
Yeah, neither do I.
Can only one character assist?
No,
or...
as many as you want. Many as you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And if you
why
want to
not?
say I'm going to use
Drake,
control
why not?
science, or like I'm going to use the sensors, or I'm trying to boost the power, if we want to do like a control engineering, just describe to me how you want to help, and then you can make that check. Mhm.
So Valhalla would like to use control security because he's going to analyze the atmospheric content based on explosibility.
Ooh,
So
interesting.
he just wants to know whether or not it's going to be dangerous in the sense of if we fire our phasers, will the whole place explode?
I think that's a very safe idea.
Ajay will advise about what to look for in determining breathability, any pathogens that might indicate a virus or something on the station.
So that you can use your advisor. I'm going to let you roll presence medicine.
Okay.
Because I'm evaluating whether or not the phasers will set off the air, can I use my focus of hand phasers?
Yes, absolutely. God, you stretch those rolls. And you know what, Brian? I love it. I'll see ya.
And can Drake?
Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was just wondering, can Drake use insight plus engineering
Sure,
since he's trying to have
absolutely.
insight into
Yeah, I
the-
like that. Absolutely.
And Tapar
Um,
will,
So far,
Oh,
not
boy.
so good, but we're trying.
yeah,
Would
Tapar
my
will
f-
control science. Sorry, Drew.
Would my focus of improvisation help?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I
And
will
Drew,
take
you
that
do have
focus.
one reroll from me,
Huzzah.
even though I didn't help you any other way.
That's 2. You
Whoop.
need 3.
right.
You can't, as a help, Drake, you can't roll 2 dice. As an
Oh,
assist,
yeah,
you're only rolling 1.
You are correct. Aha.
You know
Thank
what?
you.
You know what? You know what though? We're gonna take that second roll because I'm a benevolent game master.
All right. I'm going to re-roll one of my dice.
As you should. See if you can get some momentum. You're currently succeeding, which is good.
Uh,
We're stretching the rules a little bit,
control
but I want you guys to succeed. Maybe I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh.
engineering 1d20, and I have a focus.
And Tapar will.
Yay!
Let's go! I love it.
Huzzah!
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pocket that as additional threat for me. I'm gonna add that to my threat pool. So thank you for
And-
that.
Wolf,
Appreciate
can
it.
I just interject for a second?
No, absolutely not. Go ahead, please. I love the symbol.
So Tapar is gonna help with control science to focus the sensors.
Perfect. Done. See if we can get you some momentum. Gave me some threat. Maybe we can give you some momentum. Nope, that's all right. Hey, they're supporting characters for a
tried.
reason.
I
Moral
tried.
support. That's where we're at. Moral support. But I have good news. You succeeded. So, a couple pieces of information you pick up. I'm going to have you, since you're all working together, I'm going to give you all this information. So, if you look at the actual space station itself, you're going to see there appears to be 4 different kind of pod-like areas where they're larger, okay? And then there's a central point. Each of those pods has a different atmosphere that you're picking up, and it's a little static, it's a little shaky. One appears to be fully aquatic, as though it's filled with a liquid, maybe water, you're not exactly sure, but it's like fully aquatic. One of them appears to be a class V planet. It's very arid and just like toxic kind of planet. Another one seems to be a completely devoid of any atmosphere, as though it is like a moon or something. The other section, you actually are picking up as though it is full of dark matter. Like that entire section of the ship is full of dark matter. And in the center, you're picking up a Class M atmosphere, suitable for any sort of humanoid life that you're aware of. And the station, again, is slowly rotating, like lots of stations do. No
Okay.
viruses. Not picking up anything that you know. Just a couple of weird different atmospheres.
All right. Well, let's park ourselves at the one closest to what we all breathe.
So there is the central state section, which is where the Class M atmosphere is. You do notice there appears to be at least a dozen different docking ports. And to describe it as a docking port, it's like one of the shuttle bays on the Ragnar, but like triple in size. And there's 12 of them. So you could pick any of them. But the one I'd recommend is probably the one about halfway down, because that's where there's kind of a power source. There's like an energy reading that's coming from that appears to be some sort of engine or like a warp core or some sort of power supply to the entire station. That is also where you're picking up the 100 or so life signs as well.
Okay. Let's go in unless anyone else has a better idea.
Who's flying the shuttle?
I don't know. It's probably not me. I mean, I guess I could.
I think the security person should be flying
Yeah.
the shuttle. Why don't you give us
Okay.
a control and con?
I was afraid you'd ask for that.
You're welcome. Difficulty of 1. Don't scratch the paint.
Does not have a focus.
Hey!
Hey!
It's perfect. It's flawless. You know, it's not perfect. It's adequate. You did the
fine.
job. You know, you fly it in, you dodge all of the little beams and the crosswalks and everything. You fly in and you zoom down. And you watch as you get close to the doors of this massive shuttle bay. As you get close, you might be looking for some sort of section that would open it. They just open automatically, just wide enough to let you in. Shuttle flies in. And inside of this shuttle bay, to describe it to you, there are just roughly 1,000 gantries that look like they should hold single fighter ships, a little bit bigger than your standard shuttle, Federation shuttle, but they're all empty. Every single one of them is empty. They're all just like maybe wavering ever so slightly, but there's plenty of open floor space. The shuttle lands. As the shuttle lands, you scan again. It's a perfectly suitable Class M atmosphere. You're not picking up anything on the sensors that would indicate any sort of, virus or bacteria or a plague of any sort inside. But the entire, this landing bay, this shuttle bay is completely empty. Just you guys.
Weren't there supposed to be over 100 life forms in the shuttle bay?
They're not in the shuttle bay.
They're farther in.
Wasn't it? Oh, it
No,
was further
they're
in.
near the engine,
I'm sorry, I
On the
misheard
engine,
that.
yeah.
whatever the power source is.
It's closest to where those life
Yeah.
forms are. I misheard that. Okay. Well, doesn't look like they're rolling out the welcome wagon, cart.
As you look
Carpet?
out the viewport of the shuttle, a smaller set of doors, maybe about double in size to the doors that you would see on your standard, like on the Ragnar. It's about twice as tall and twice as wide. Out steps a very tall looking, slightly feminine alien. And it's the same alien that appeared to you all. And you see she has two sets of eyes. A smaller set of eyes is up kind of on the side of her head that appears to look out to the sides. And then a pair of eyes that face forward. So she has both true peripheral vision, like as though she was, what is it? What they say the prey have like the side vision so they can see, hunters, and hunters have the forward vision because they're fighting. She has both. And as she steps forward again, their bodies are extremely long, very lengthy. Their arms come down and they appear longer than they should be. So if I was to stand up, my arms come down to my sides just below my hips. Her arms go all the way down just past her knees. That's where her arms rest and her hands are. Their hands are extremely long, and you see that they end in not talons, but they end in these kind of short, almost cat-like claws that you see both extend and then retract simultaneously. It almost seems like maybe of a nervous reaction. But she takes a couple of steps forward, looking around, both these sets of eyes moving differently. They're not in tandem with her forward eyes, but they're looking left and right. And then she slowly brings both hands together, crossing them, does this, and then bows her head. It appears to be some sort of greeting of some kind. And then she waits. She's about 40 meters away from the shuttle.
Krev looks around, sighs, realizing that he is in fact in charge, grumbles something under his breath, and kind of steps forward and awkwardly does the same the same move.
Give me a presence and give me a presence security. That's what we're going to ask from you.
That's not going to do well for me.
If anyone else wants to assist, they can as well.
Yeah, Valhalla will help.
Yeah,
I mean,
Ajay
the
will
bard-
assist by also performing the greeting motion.
Tapar being very Vulcan just does the Vulcan salute.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I assume this is presence security for all of us.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cool.
Got one.
And as you all begin to give these symbols, no one really screws up, which is good. I mean, you guys are going to gain 3 momentum from that. You do a pretty good job. It's a little awkward, but you cross your thumbs, they link together, they kind of close as though it's a butterfly, and then nods her head behind it, as though you're kind of making like a crown over your head. That's the motion that this creature makes, this alien makes. And as you all step out and you're about, 10 meters away from her, she speaks. And mouth opens. It seems like her mouth opens smaller than it should. It's a very tiny little mouth. And the voice is feminine in some ways, but it's hard to tell whether this is a female or a male.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they don't have a sex, this species. You're not sure yet. But she says, "The dawn morning greets you, kindly and openly. Do you come here to assist?"
Yeah, we're here to take a look at your systems and see if we can get it back up and running.
Wonderful. We have been so destitute. We have been in such pain and turmoil. The dawn has not shone for us. It has been night. It has been darkness here. We wish only to live. We wish only to exist in our own way, and at our own time. Please follow me. I will take you to the dawn. And she turns and enters into this kind of long walkway.
Yeah. You ready to go meet the dawn, guys? Let's do this.
As you enter into this long walkway, the holes of this section, the holes of this space station where you're entering into, the air is... So the Ragnar's air is fresh. This is sweet. The air smells like it is full of honey, as though there are fresh baked cookies, sugar cookies.
Valles would not notice. He's still wearing his whole EVA suit. He's the security
Yeah,
officer.
we're
Oh,
all
I
in our
guess we all
EVA
are,
suits.
yeah.
Oh,
Perfect.
fully
Okay.
geared up.
Well, let me describe it this way. Your sensors, like your scans, you're taking scans. They're picking
Tricorders.
up tricorders. They're picking up like almost like there's sugar in the air. Like there's some sort of like it's like there's powdered sugar that is like floating in the air, and the air itself completely normal, completely wonderful, other than this kind of powdery, like almost sugariness in the air. And you can tell based on your tricorder readings that if you were to smell it, it would smell like honey and sugar cookies. All right, there we go. That's where we're at. Okay, hashtag retcon. We fixed it. But anyway, I digress. But as you walk down this hallway, you start to see these what appear to be religious accoutrement on the walls, and you see that there are these, well, they look like sun, like rising sun symbols. Imagine, if you will, made out of like iron or copper with like copper plating on it. You'll see these single bar, a arch, and then these little like what look like little rays, and those are in just these uniform sections as you walk deeper and deeper, and they start to become more and more prominent. And as you get deeper and deeper towards the center of this station, your tricorders start to pick up a very weak but very powerful. So it's diminished. It's not producing the type of power it should. But if you're familiar with the Romulan, I believe it's the Romulans have the singularity that act as their engines. Is that correct? It's
Yep.
something very similar to that. In fact, it may be almost a direct copy of it. And as you get closer and closer, I'm going to have you roll, Lieutenant Commander Krev, I'm going to have you roll a Insight Engineering difficulty of 3 on this. Because you get closer and closer and closer. And then eventually you come to this large chamber. Imagine engineering, but 100 times the size. And in the center, there's this large circular chamber. And there are these platforms, these walkways that move towards it. And there are 7 of them, these 7 walkways that go towards the center. And in the center, you see what looks like a black hole. And it appears to be contained, and it's swirling slightly. But every so often, you watch as this tendril of like black energy kind of lances out and then lances back in. And the whole room feels very, very cold. Or at least your tricorders are picking up that it's cold in the room.
Huh. You said insight and engineering.
Correct. If anyone
Um,
wants to assist, you're welcome to
and
do so. Just
I'm
describe
gonna
it to me how.
burn. I'm gonna burn a momentum.
Okay.
Um. Would my focus of warp drive or fusion reactors or improvisation help?
I'm gonna give you improvisation.
Okay.
Improvisation, yeah, because this is a little bit beyond your wheelhouse, but
I
you're
like
gonna-
being beyond my
you like to
wheelhouse.
be on your wheelhouse. That's true. I like that. Yeah. I love that, because that is a success.
I bet you do.
I'll take that threat. Here's what's going to happen. So you start to scan it, and it is indeed a black hole that appears to be contained in the center of this space station at its true core. But the issue is that instead of the station drawing power from this black hole, as it would likely be intended, it appears that the station is, well, the black hole is drawing power from the station. And as you watch, you see a couple of these, well, these aliens, the species, which, you will soon come to know as the Numphel. This species, you watch as there's 2 of them that are crossing one of the walkways off to the right. And you watch as they're moving up, and they appear to have something in their hands, but they don't look like necessarily tricorders. They look like maybe religious accoutrement, like a staff, maybe a little like some sort of like let's call it a staff. Two of them have staffs, but they're glowing as though they are powered, and they're moving towards it almost in this kind of revenant kind of way, like they have revenants towards it. And you watch as this tendril of black energy lances out, and the two of them get struck by it and they disappear. From back towards where you are, you see a small gathering of these individuals, of these Numphel. They all raise their hands, bring them together, and then drag down. So when she greeted you, she drew it together, brought it up, and then bowed her head. They all bring them together in the direction those two disappeared, and then drag down. The darkness claims more. Please, you must help us. Please, we must bring back the dawn.
Yeah, we'll help you bring back the dawn. Let's get started, crew.
The par just activates comms between her and you, Commander. This black hole is highly unstable. This is going to be this is highly illogical. We should remove these people from the station immediately.
That sounds like quitter talk and not any fun. Let's actually try and fix this, like Starfleet officers, and stop being boring.
Very well, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Do any of you know anything about how this works? He says to the
Numphel?
aliens. Yeah.
She looks at you, tilting her head to the side. The Dawnbringer grants us light, and from its light we find sustenance and life. Something has angered the Dawnbringer. We wish only to bring back the light.
Okay, I love that answer so much.
Yeah. So,
So much. The best answer.
If I may, sir, we should start by erecting a force field around a containment field around the area so that at least no more of our posts get, well, you know.
Your idea, your job.
Understood.
Get to it.
Yes, sir. It's a part for us to go and set up a containment field around the area.
I'm going to start trying to find like control consoles and anything I can to
So as you begin to look around,
do any kind of
you see that there are
diagnostics.
small groups at each of these platforms, these 7 walkways that lead towards this central section, right, where this black hole is up on a platform like a dais, and it's just pivoting, and every once in a while this black lance of energy comes out, and you see that at the base of each of these, or at the end of each of these, there's small gatherings of these Numphel that appear to be praying, I suppose would be the statement, and offering reverence towards it. And you can hear them saying, "O Dawnbringer, we wish only to serve you. We wish only to bring back your glorious light. Please tell us what we must do. Please, we wish only to bring back the light. Please, please, please give us the light." And they're just like praying, but not doing anything useful. However, you notice that there are several what appear to be control consoles, both at the dais, at the base of the dais, roughly. So imagine this black hole is 300 feet in the air, and there's a central section, the central platform, and then there's like those long, deep caverns, similar to like when Luke fell down in Cloud City. Like, why are those there? Why don't they just make a floor? It would be so much safer. But no, they're there. Absolutely. And you see a couple of consoles over at the base of this giant black hole dais, as it were.
Commander, if I might offer an observation.
Please.
seems the locals have devoted themselves to worship of the power source. And perhaps it is this that the Numphel have taken issue with and have thus quarantined against. Perhaps their worship is more contagious than one might have imagined. I only mention it because you will perhaps want to be careful how you address the black hole, as the natives might see your wrangling it to the ground as you becoming a god, or perhaps a threat.
Oh boy, more fun.
Commander, should I check out one of these consoles and see maybe it's throwing up some kind of error message?
Yeah, I mean, we're all going to be checking every console we can find.
Yeah, Drake will move up to one of the consoles and try to interface with it. He has computers as a focus.
Perfect. So you're going to cross
that's
the
why I chose
walkways
him.
and move up to the consoles.
Oh,
correct?
oh, I see. So the consoles are up where the thing comes out and
Correct.
like
So
that.
imagine you're
All
at
right.
the you're in a
Right,
ring.
right,
So
right,
imagine
yeah.
like the inside of this central area is
Mhm.
like a mirror representation of the exterior. So you guys are
Right.
on that outer section, and then there's these walkways that go across to the center where the black hole is. It's like you're in a mini version of the total space station in the center. Does that make sense?
Right.
Brilliant.
Commander, I think I can get across there without getting zapped by that thing.
That is highly illogical.
If you think you
I'd
can
I'd
do it,
recommend risking it.
Well, I'm not going to get engineering officer of the month if I don't step up, right?
yeah, you're gonna have a hard time taking that plaque away from Bronson.
I was unaware that our duties were such that there was a employee of the month competition.
Yeah.
There's a
And
reason
I shall
you're
have to speak with
chosen for
Ensign Zed
Team
about
Awesome,
this.
Drake. I'll beat you to it. And Bronson begins to make her way. Petty Officer Bronson begins to make her way
Hey,
across
all right,
towards the
she's,
center.
What, you gonna let her show you up?
No, sir.
This is
Until-
highly
until-
illogical.
yeah.
The part that starts sprinting.
Yeah, and so Drake will kind of cut a glance at Bronson and say, "Not this time." And he's gonna start trotting across towards the console.
As you begin trotting across towards the console, the alien, the one that introduced herself or themselves as Rila, moves forward towards the doctor and looks at her with a kind of inquisical curiosity. May this one ask what you are?
I highly doubt you've heard of my people, but I'm Bajoran.
But
If you refer to my purpose with this group, I'm a doctor.
would you be able to heal someone that was sick?
Yes, that's why I'm here. The blockade indicated there was a quarantine. It seemed for the best that a doctor come over just to make sure that there weren't any diseases floating around alongside your engineering issues.
There is no quarantine. There is only those that wish to see the dawn returned, and those that wish to plunge everything into darkness.
But you do have someone who's sick.
And she nods. As she nods, she motions off towards your left. So she's motioning with her right off to the left, and you see that there is a small group of these Numphel that appear to be surrounding another Numphel that is, well, shackled to the wall. And this Numphel is gagged and shackled and is struggling. And you notice that all of these others that are here that are offering this reverence to the black hole, to the darkness that should be the dawn, they're all wearing these kind of white, light, almost religious looking robes. This one that is chained to the wall is wearing this dark black, almost looking like obsidian armor They're not. Don't have a helmet, but you can see a helmet to the side, and they look furious. Their eyes on the side of their head are narrowed. Their eyes here are narrowed, and they look to be almost foaming at the mouth, but they can't speak because they are currently gagged. This one here has given themselves to the darkness, and we wish to bring them back to the light.
They're one of yours, or they're allied with the group blockading you?
She tilts her head to the side, seeming confused by the question. I do not understand to whom you speak.
The Numphel, who are blockading this station, who've lied about you being in quarantine.
Those that wish to plunge everything into darkness. Those are who you speak
Yes.
of.
Yes.
This one is sick with their belief. We wish only to show them that the light is the path. Light is what brings the dawn.
The people talking to them, are they your doctors?
She nods.
I see. Then, if you'll excuse me, I'll go speak with them.
And as she heads off, Karev, are you going to go help your engineering crew, or are you going to stick back? What's the plan?
Yeah, he watches them all, or he watches the brave ones cross
Tapar ran across. I wanna
cross
point out.
cross the way, and then he kind of just has a smile on his face, and he's like, God, I am the best damn commander in Starfleet, and then rushes across and follows his men.
I love it. I love it. And as you rush across, you can watch as you rush across. There are all of these lights inside that's illuminating this entire chamber. And again, this chamber is I can't even begin to describe the magnitude. It is like standing in the core of the moon. It is just as though it was cored out, it was hollow, and you're standing in the center looking around. All right. And as you get closer and closer, it takes you 2 minutes running at full speed to get across this walkway. Like it's a bit of a jaunt, right? But as you get across, you get to the base, and the temperature in this core, this central pedestal where this dais is located and the black hole is being contained and kind of swirling and lancing out occasionally, the temperature on your tricorders is a perfect 65 degrees. Just perfect. It's as though it is just the most perfect atmosphere right around this dais. But Bronson and Drake have made their way over to these consoles and are beginning their investigation, trying to figure out what's going on. Now, these consoles, they're highly, highly advanced. Now, this technology seems to blow past anything that the Federation currently has. However, the interactions with the console, the buttons, they appear to be music in nature, as though you have to play certain tones to interact with it. If you've ever seen Aliens, the latest one, what's the one that was called Prometheus? Something similar to that, where he plays a song, but there are these buttons that you have to push to interact. But then there are these readout panels in a foreign language you're not sure. You actually start to work with it, and I'm assuming Lieutenant Paris would have offered some advice on how this language worked, but you can interact with it, although the difficulty on checks is going to be increased by 1 from what it normally would be since you're interacting with it. But what would you guys like to do in this moment?
I am going to be trying to track down like the main actual control panel, like figure out what all of these actually, what all of these panels actually do, and if I can get any kind of like idea as to the systems.
Perfect. So that's going to be an insight or actually reason, excuse me, reason and engineering. Difficulty normally would just be a 2 to understand a system. It's going to be a difficulty 3, and I'm going to spend an extra 2 threat to make it a difficulty 4, and an extra threat above and beyond that to increase the complication range to 19 to 20. I have so much threat. I've been saving it. Wonderful.
Okay. I'm gonna spend all 3 for 2 additional
Mhm.
dice.
Tapar is for sure helping with understanding that.
Yeah. I'm gonna use my improvisation focus.
Mhm.
And this isn't an extended task. It's never an extended task. Why did I take so many talents for extended tasks?
We'll make it
Okay.
happen. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, I know.
Believe me, there will be some extended tasks.
All
Don't worry
right.
about it.
I'm good to go. Let's submit.
Oh, mama, love it. Do you have an ability to reroll that complication?
I don't.
It's okay.
Well, let's see. Only if I'm being assisted by the ship's computers or sensors.
All right. Unfortunately, no. But you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to pocket that threat for a later reason. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, it's totally fine. The
Totally
good news
fine.
is you find the main console that controls this whole apparatus. In fact, it controls the entire station. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use that complication. Okay, I'm going to have that complication. The complication is as follows, and it was a difficulty 4 task. You got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you actually have 2 momentum. So go ahead and add 2 momentum back. The complication is as you are figuring out which console to use, the station, you watch as the lights near the top of this area, they shut down. So the station power, as you're reading it, is running at about 10% right now. And you've got roughly an hour before the entire station goes dark and all atmosphere starts to just leave the station. It's like this station's about to completely shut down and you won't be able to turn it back on in roughly an hour. However, what we're going to do is we're going to leave that thought there for just a moment, and we're going to pivot back over to the Ragnar, where the captain, Ensign Zed, Crusher, and I would say probably Lieutenant Paris, you'd be back up on the bridge, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe watching everything from beyond.
I mean, he probably helped do a quick scan on Block, but if there's no like real readings to go by, he's gonna come back to the bridge.
Very inconclusive, Lieutenant Paris. Very inconclusive. But what I'm going to have you do is, Lieutenant Paris, you are watching everything that's going on. You're scanning to see if any of these attack vessels show up. And thus far, not a blip on sensors. Ensign Zed, you've provided him with full readings. You're both working in tandem, watching the sensors. However, I'm going to have you roll a quick control science. Ensign Zed, I'd like you to assist him with a control security. Difficulty in this is going to be a 4. Because you're picking up a strange signal. It's coming from behind the Ragnar.
Science. Technical expertise applies. That's cool. Is the ship is going to help, of course?
Ship can absolutely help.
Would shipboard tactical systems
Absolutely.
work? Oops, I forgot to say yes.
Is this a sensor security?
And
That's okay. You get to roll again, Zed. Oh no, never mind.
That is 4 successes, all working together. That is
3.
No, 3.
Oh, 3 successes. Okay, so you're failing by 1. Devil's bargain. You give me 2 threat. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't hear the difficulty, so I thought it was
Difficulty was a 4. You give me 2 threat, I'll let you succeed.
You have
I
enough
say we
threat.
do it.
Do it.
He has enough threat.
Devil's bargain.
Talent expertise. Can I reroll the ship?
Absolutely. I'll allow it.
Ryan, can you reroll the ship, please?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ah! All right, dang it. I was like, I give me some fat. That's right. I love it. All right, so that's fine. So you succeed. What you pick up, both of you get this reading at the same time, is you pick up the temporal disturbance from just beyond that area of space where subspace was destroyed by these attack ships, where they blasted that area and just ripped apart the fabric of reality in that section. But you pick up a quick temporal disturbance, and for a split second, you pick up what appears to be a Federation transponder. Blips into existence, and then it blips out of existence. And the moment that it blipped out of existence, it appeared that it was moving towards the Ragnar at maximum impulse. And if readings are correct, that small shuttle, it appeared to be a shuttle of unknown design, maybe a futuristic look. Well, it appears it's going to arrive at the Ragnar in about 30 minutes.
I relay that information to the captain.
Are we still cloaked?
You are still cloaked.
Does the transponder signal have any identifying information?
It does. It does. It does. This ship is the USS Darcy. NC 0002. It doesn't come up on any known readings, doesn't come up on any known logs. You've never seen it, you've never heard of it before. It appears to be like a runabout, is the best way I could describe it. A very futuristic looking runabout.
Did it have either chronometric or chronoton particles attached to it?
Yes, it did.
Which one?
Appeared to come through a temporal vortex.
But which one? Did it have both or
Both.
just one? God damn it. It's not necessarily that they would have both. Just saying. Yeah, Captain. We got nothing on this. We move the ship.
Well, I would wait for them to. Sorry, my cat is climbing on my back. Bells. Whoops, there goes my comm edge. Thanks, Bells. No, we'll
Sabrina,
open hailing frequencies.
Come here.
Aye, Captain. Hailing frequencies open.
USS Darcy, we have detected you. If you'd like to make for Shuttle Bay 1, I can meet you in the. This is Captain Treso of the USS Ragnar. I can meet you in Shuttle Bay 1.
No response other than a acknowledgement. No voice, nothing, just you get a little ping back, acknowledged.
Mr. Paris, you have the bridge. I'll be in Shuttle Bay 1.
And
Captain.
as you move down to Shuttle Bay 1, we're going to pivot back over to the alien space station. The alien space station. And let me go ahead and do this and grab you guys over there. We're right here. And yeah, Rev, what are you going to do, man?
So we have how long? 2 hours? 1 hour?
You have an hour.
1 hour.
But we've found the main control panel.
You have?
So I'm going to call over my computer expert, and the two of us are going to try and hack our way into this and figure out what's going on with these systems.
I love it.
So which what are we rolling?
So if you want to try to figure out what's going on, it's going to be a reason and engineering difficulty of 3.
Reason.
And While you roll that, I'd like to pivot back over to
Engineering.
Commander Ajay. Commander Ajay, you're making your way over to this chained individual, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're gagged, and unlike the first alien you've seen that kind of has this greenish, bluish color, they are a little bit orangey in their tone and their skin tone. But this creature is again wearing this black obsidian sheen, shiny looking armor, and they are standing there. They struggle every so often, and then again they just have this look of pure fury and rage upon their face. But you approach the half a dozen or so, this like almost priestly looking versions of this alien species. They back away slightly, giving you some space, and they all cross their hands, do this, and they make that drag down motion similar to when the one was killed by that lance, and they allow you to approach it. Its eyes, still filled with fury and rage, narrowed. You can see it's almost shaking from frustration or anger, almost like a beast that's been chained. Locks eyes with you. Its two eyes on the side closed, the single two eyes facing forward look at you. And for a moment, Commander Ajay, you feel like prey. This must be what prey feels like when it looks into the eye of a predator. The moment passes, though, and its expression softens. What do you do?
I'm going to turn to one of the healer priest type people,
Mhm.
and I will ask, is it all right if I ungag them?
It nods.
Thank you. So I will step up and I will carefully, because I don't want to get bitten,
It leans
ungag.
down towards you. This alien leans down towards you very slowly, very purposefully, because it's very tall. It's about double your height, but it leans down, allowing you to remove, as though it understood what was going to happen. You remove its gag, and then it slowly kind of kneels down so that it's facing you, eye to eye. It says nothing at this moment, it just waits.
How did you come to be here?
This one came to be here by order of the Numphel Legion. These ones here, they are sick. Sick with the disease that is belief.
Do you have no religion?
Religion. Religion.
Belief, faith.
Faith is misplaced logic. Faith is belief in things that do not exist. Faith blinds. It blinds, it shrouds progress. No, I have only knowledge.
And because you're here, they're seeking to give you their belief.
These ones have fallen prey to this station. This station spreads lies. This station must be destroyed. Will you help me?
How does the station spread lies?
His eyes slowly glance up towards the black hole, and then glance back towards you. Meanwhile, over by the consoles, we watch as Lieutenant Paris, Lieutenant Commander Karev have figured out. You were trying to figure out how this thing works, what you can do to fix it, right? So here's what you've figured out. At some point, you're not sure why, but at some point, the white hole that existed here, it's a black hole currently, but at some point, this energy was a white hole. It was giving off energy. Something happened that the white hole inverted itself and became a black hole and started drawing energy away from the station. Now, based on your readings, this has likely been going on for maybe a week at this point. So, I mean, this black hole's drawing, like, you know, the energy output the Ragnar gives? You know, like imagine it's 100%. every second it's drawing the full power that the Ragnar's warp core gives out, but it's taken a full week for it to drain the power from this space station. All right, a full week. You've got about an hour left before it's completely devoid, and the black hole will literally consume the entire station. The only thing keeping the station from imploding in and being sucked into this black hole are the stabilizers. That's the last bit of power that's holding this thing intact. You're muted.
I'm muted, and that is not helpful. So let's. Jesus, how do you turn a black hole into a white hole? Do we have any other science-y types with us? No.
Commander, does it look like this is a result of an error or a command that turned this thing
Ooh,
from on to off?
good question. Let's see if we can figure that out. Was it
If
done
you want to give me a
intentionally?
momentum, I will just
Yeah.
give you the answer. If you want to roll for it, I can definitely have you do that as well.
Take it.
All right, I'm going to take that momentum real quick. Go ahead and if you want to drag that off for us, Captain Tracer. So, it looks as though there was a code that was input roughly a week ago that, well, it started drawing, it started actually shutting down to where the station wasn't drawing power from it, and thus the white hole started producing too much power, and that power had to go somewhere, so it inverted back into itself, and that caused it to turn into a black hole. So to undo it, as crazy it might sound, you might need to just cut all energy that's flowing to it. So basically shut off the energy, or just let it run out, and it may invert back in on itself and become a white hole again. I don't know. Science is weird. You know, space magic.
I hate space magic.
Could there possibly be a command to switch it back into the other mode?
Yeah, let's see if we can find that.
You tell me.
Commander, though, I know this may not be the best time to tell you, but I'm tone deaf. These commands are musical.
3 more of the decks above you shut off, and you watch as the top part of the black hole, you can see there's these long, almost like spider-like, you know, like claws that go up, and they have these like dampening fields that appear to be like holding it in place. You watch as the top part of one of those starts to bend and groan very suspiciously and very ominously.
Sweet. Okay, let's first thing we try is trying to enter in the command to reverse the power back, put it back where it was, see if that works.
Turn it back on.
And as Drake starts to sing, slightly off key, but that was actually pretty good, Charles. Turn it back on, make it work right. I love that. That's actually fantastic. Maybe that's how it works. Yeah, that's the actual tone you have to do. Is make it work right. Turn it back on. Anyway, we're getting a little silly here. So we pivot back over to Commander Ajay. This creature, this alien before you has said it is the black hole. It must be destroyed. That is what changes them. It's what gives them this false belief. And he asks, will you help me destroy it?
I need to speak with my companions.
Speak with who you must, but it must be destroyed. With or without your help.
Ajay's gonna go find Krev.
Krev is all the way across the walkway, about a 3-minute walk from where you're at.
Yep.
The alien, with the black armor, settles back into a kneeling position. Seems, resigned to their current situation. 3 minutes later, you make your way over to Lieutenant Commander Krev, who is, he's in the middle of trying to, play a song. And it kind of sounds like burp, 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 burp.
Commander, use your mathematical skills instead of your musical skills.
Shut up. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. Hi, Doc.
So,
Commander.
quick little aside. Lieutenant
How are you
Commander.
with music? Yes.
As you are analyzing the different tones that should be played, and you may not remember this, but last session, a certain Andorian sang a very melancholy kind of song.
Yes. Yes, I
it?
remember.
And I don't want to necessarily redo it, but the song that needs to be played to reactivate this white hole seems very familiar to that tune. And in fact, Commander Ajay, as you walk up, you hear Commander Krev. Maybe you're humming it to yourself, Karev, because you're trying to figure out exactly what's going on. That seems really familiar. You heard certain Andorians sing that song.
I know this song.
Yeah. Are you a musician at all? I'm not good at this.
You got to be better than me, Doc.
I suppose you could say I have some background in music, but not as a musician.
Please, Commander, time is of the essence.
Drake
There
will
is
step
a
aside and motion towards the
screeching
console.
sound as metal rips off from one of the containment arms.
I mean, you've heard Tellerate music, right?
Yes, I've had that
That's
pleasure.
pretty much what it sounds like. You want to give it a
Commander-
shot?
All right, but Commander, while I'm doing that, would you or one of your other engineering people please run a scan on this thing to make sure that it's not leaking contaminant?
Yeah. Let's get that done too. That's a great idea. Don't like contaminants.
And as you mentioned leak contaminants, Commander Ajay, there is a shriek as though several of these aliens are panicking. And as you look back, all of you look back over your shoulder, you watch, and I'm going to spend 3 threat. You watch as the alien in the black armor rips the chains free from the wall. Those talon cat-like claws lance out, tearing the throats of 2 of the aliens surrounding him. The others back off, covering their faces, cowering in fear as this one roars, his mouth opening much wider, almost bestial, and he says, "It will be destroyed! The darkness shall consume! Death to the Dawnbringers!" He charges forward towards the platform. You've got about a minute and a half before he gets there.
Valles is at the other end of that walkway.
Yeah.
Because he would have been taking a defensive posture, so he's gonna shoot her with his phaser.
I love it. Go for it.
I'm gonna spend our 1 momentum to get the 3rd.
Yeah, do it.
I love it.
And that's a fitness security, right?
Yes, that is fitness security. Ooh, so nervous. Difficulty of 2.
Hand phasers as a focus.
Absolutely. I'm so nervous. Oh my stars. Go ahead and roll damage.
7. Challenge dice. Yeah.
As the phaser hits the black armor, you watch as it almost appears to be absorbed into the armor. The creature turns to the Vulcan, turns to Valles. "We shall not be stopped!" And then charges down the platform towards the central station.
What's the check to try and figure out the song while that's happening?
You know, that's a great question. I'm thinking presence, and oh man, you know what? Presence medicine. I would allow it. You know, because you're using your vocal cords. That's kind of a medical thing. You know, I don't know. It's a stretch. What check do we roll? Definitely presence. You know.
Yeah.
Just to play the music. Yeah.
Okay.
Presence and command.
Presence command would be
Presence
main.
command.
Set
Okay.
phasers to fun. That's hilarious, Overland Gamer. I appreciate you. That's hilarious.
Fun shall now commence.
I'm gonna spend one of that momentum to get another die
The
because I'm
creature is running
assuming.
down the platform at a full sprint. It's galloping like a gazelle, its claws outstretched, roaring. The dawn
run-
shall not return. The
Uh,
dawn shall not
Hey,
return.
Derwolf, what's the difficulty on this check?
Well, funny you should ask.
Yeah,
Normally,
that's-
it would be a 3. But I
Hmm.
have all of this threat. I have so much threat. I'm just gonna
God.
just gonna empty my threat. It's gonna be a difficulty 5. And then a complication range, 18 to 20.
Hey, roll 4 dice.
Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna let me just throw all of that out there. I just had so much built up. I was waiting for this moment, by the
What?
way. I was just waiting for it.
Cool. Presence command 40-20. Would you accept a focus of composure since I've got that guy making noise in
You
the background?
know what? Yes, death to the dawn, destruction, rah! And all of the other Numphel are starting to like raise their hands up like this and drag them down in that kind of like death mask thing that they did, and they're all starting to hum this single tone. It's like an om. You watch as the black hole up at the top is starting to. But that's 5-6
Oh.
inches. Jesus Christ! I can't kill you guys. I tried so hard. So you watch as the top of this thing, the very tops of these little claws, these containment fields, are bending in. At single tone, the creature is just feet away from you, and you play the tone, you play the melody. There is a moment where it seems like it didn't work. The creature lunges towards you. You turn back, all of you drawing your phasers, ready to fire. You hear the phasers starting to line up. It's roaring. Gah! And then there is a moment where time seems to freeze. Time seems to stop. Everything is moving in slow motion. You can feel that you're experiencing reality as you should. Normal time, but everything around you is frozen, save for all of you standing right next to this thing. He is just inches away, but he stops freezing, moving slowly. The black hole above starts to waver. And deep in the core of that black hole, you see this tiny pinprick of light. And in that pinprick of light, Commander Ajay, you think you see someone or something, like a looks almost humanoid, like a shadowy outline of someone. And you hear a song different from the one you played to start this, but it's a song that your mother used to sing. You were very young, something back from during the war. And that image disappears, and you watch as the pinprick of light starts to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, and then there is this boom, and the entire room is illuminated like a flashbang went off. All of your visions are just blinded in this moment. You can't see anything. But as your eyes start to adjust, you look up, and that black hole that was up there is now a white hole, and it's giving off this beautiful white, just calming energy. And you look at this alien coated in this black armor, and he looks up at the light, his eyes wide. And he looks for a moment afraid. And then he kind of twitches. And he stands up slowly. He was laying on his front, looking up at the light. And as he looks up at the light, he looks at his hands. And he looks over to Commander Ajay. Thank you. You have returned the light. You have brought the dawn.
And then Valles shoots him with a phaser from behind because I was not in part of that.
And he collapses to the ground. No, it's terrible. No. He brings up, you've returned the light, and then he makes this symbol and he bows his head in that moment. As he stands up, you see he grabs at a piece of the armor, pulls it off, it collapses to the ground, pulls another off. And moments later, he has removed all of this armor. And beneath, you see he's wearing that kind of white robe like everyone else. Karev, as you're watching the different systems here, you watch as the ship power to the station starts to return. Awesome. And everything seems to very quickly going back to normal.
Okay, I'm checking for contaminants.
Not a single contaminant. Seems to be functioning entirely normal. No issues.
Okay.
Well, Krev says, not looking up from his tricorder, I know who's getting engineer of the month, and claps the doctor on the back.
Bronson looks really disappointed.
Mm,
It's not fair.
so
It
does
seems
Drake.
only appropriate.
Valles gets to the other end of the platform and he's like, curious. I would have predicted that the chances of you avoiding that aggressor's attack were 10-4.
It seems there's perhaps something to be said about the effect this singularity might have on this species, but I'm guessing we don't have time for me to study that fully.
And with that, I think that's a great moment to pivot back and over to the Ragnar, where the good captain is currently making his way into the shuttle bay. Let me go ahead and delete these randos out of here. My bad. Got some randos in there. But as you enter in, you see that there is a shuttle that has landed, and the back of this shuttle is opening. And as the back of the shuttle opens, why is there a thing on there? That's weird.
Zed was going to recommend that either he come or security team come with the.
I think that's a great
Captain.
idea.
Oh no,
No,
the captain
nothing?
captain would have said no, that he's gonna, because I'm presuming this is a intelligence
Right.
arrival, and if it's not and it's time travel, he wants to have the as little interaction with the crew as possible.
Stepping out from behind the ship, out of the walkway, is a woman. She's dressed in all black, and you notice that her little comm badge is also black as well.
Oh,
She
Jesus.
steps forward with an air of purpose and an air of, I belong here and I'm in charge. And she steps forward. She breaks out a tricorder, the likes of which you've never seen. It appears highly advanced. It appears to scan. You see as she does like a quick little round, and she says, Captain Treso of the USS Valhalla.
No, this is the Ragnar.
Ragnar, excuse me. Of the Ragnar.
Indeed.
By order of the Department of Temporal Investigations, you and your crew are placed under arrest pending further investigation. Your badge, sir. And that, my friends, is where we'll end today's session. Boom! All right, there it is. There it is.
The
There
monster.
it is. All right. Well, great job, everybody. Absolutely had a blast. Hope you guys had fun as well. Very, very excited for our next episode, which is going to be it's gonna be a bit of an investigation episode, as the Ragnar. Well, the Ragnar is currently under arrest, I suppose, by this woman. And also, quick sneak peek, we are going to be having a special guest next week who will be playing this character. Actually, we'll be playing this character, and I'm very excited. It's actually, you know what? I'm gonna keep it secret. I'm gonna keep it secret who this person's gonna be. And but hey, what you
You
guys
won't
think?
be able.
Did you have fun tonight? Hopefully that you did. Hopefully you did.
Mhm. Yes.
Excellent. Well, to our players, I just want to say thank you so much for playing. And as I always ask in every session, any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we sign off for tonight?
I hate you.
We all hate you right now.
Good.
I love you.
Oh, thanks, man.
No, you don't. You say that, but
I
inside,
appreciate you.
deep inside.
I
it's
appreciate you so
affectionate
much.
words.
I gotta have a reason to have folks keep coming back, but I'm very excited for next session. Very, very excited for next session. And I was gonna take off next Tuesday, but honestly, I want to keep the story flowing. So we are gonna plan to play next Tuesday. and it's going to be an absolute riot. But as I always say at the end of every session, thank you to the players for playing. Thank you to the viewers for viewing. I very much appreciate your support. Don't forget to drop a follow, and if you're feeling dandy and got an extra Prime sub, throw it my way. Everything that gets donated to the channel is literally thrown right back into creating more content for y'all, and if you enjoy what you're watching, I do appreciate the support. It definitely helps keep this stuff going. But with that being said, thank you again, everybody. Happy gaming. We'll catch you next time for more Star Trek Valhalla. Good night, everybody.